Hello, welcome back to Outmouse Labs. My name is Penny, and I'm glad you're here. Today we're continuing on with our Hunt for Zadrius Tomb Make a Game series. Hope you're having a lovely evening, day, morning, night. And this should be a somewhat shorter video. We are going to pick up basically where we left off. So we have our port, or Avenger port, and the idea was that if you walked down here, you would find the Avenger, your ship. So the first thing we did was create a transfer to the Avenger top deck. Then we created our map. Now this map actually is one of the sample maps that comes with my asset pack. I didn't edit it some, but by adding that in and changing the side, but it is basically the same. Honestly, I don't think there's really a need to have a different ship. The ship's a ship. But if you disagree, let me know. Maybe I'll go ahead and do one from scratch. But this looks pretty good to me. In our new map, I created a doll for our Captain Rene, and I created Helmsman Harry. We'll come back to him in a little bit. And then, as always, up in the left corner, we have our controller, which is an auto run. This is going to be our second cutscene. So our second cutscene starts by turning on our common event start cutscene. As a reminder, that is a common event that turns player followers off, turns cutscene on. The end does a fade out, turns player followers on, cutscene off, and waits 30 frames before fading back in. Okay? So we start our cutscene. We turn on our self switch so that it doesn't play endlessly. We have our player move and our striker doll move without waiting, so they move together. Then we have striker call out to the captain. Our Rene doll has an explanation and then moves to meet them. Then we have conversation. We show an icon above the player, a balloon icon with a question mark. And Rene asks, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, fire away. And then we have a label questions. Now, the label is an incredibly powerful event command that basically creates loops. So you can say label questions, and then down here, jump to label questions in, or jump to label questions. So by having this here, after they answer a question, after Rene answers the question, it takes you back up to the top so you can ask as many questions as you want. If you choose, well, that's all of my questions, then it goes to questions end, which skips past jump to, and it finishes the event. That's really the only tricky thing here. So again, just to explain that one more time, we have a label above our questions and answers. We have a last answer, which is I'm done asking questions, which takes you past the jump to finish the event. Otherwise, as it hits this line, it goes back up to the label. Okay, so you can ask your questions. Once you go to the end, Rene says, your ship is at my command. We turn off our cutscene. We add Rene to the party. And then after that fade out, we'll have Rene in our party, which is great. You can walk down. You can explore the other parts of the ship. Again, right now, these are just stock. These I will be editing, I'm sure. But for the moment, they're fine. You can check it out if you want. I'll probably be eventually adding treasure chests, NPCs, other sailors you can talk to, that sort of thing. For now, though, you can just talk to Harry. When you talk to Harry, a little bit of dialogue, and then a choice command. Do you want training on how to use the ship? If you choose yes, he tells you how to use the Avenger. Notably, he says, ships like this can only sail in deep water and can only dock at ports. If that sounds familiar, it's because those are the same rules as Final Fantasy 1. But I think Final Fantasy 1's a great game, and given my asset pack, it's definitely the vibe I'm going for. So, only ports and no shallow water. If you say no, he says, oh, you already know your stuff, basically, and transfers you either way out to Karnas, which is our world map. So for that, of course, we needed a world map. This is our world map. It is pretty big. If you haven't made a world map, the main thing with world maps is to kind of make them large. They're meant to show scale. Now, I'll be using an old school, like Final Fantasy 1 through 6 style model, where each town is, if you will, a nation state. Now, our game takes place in Zadria, or the Ravaged Lands, which is everything east of this mountain range and this sort of eastern subcontinent. So these are the lands that were able to survive the plague back in the day, these two. And then this is the Ravaged Lands. So the idea is that the mountains are uncrossable. That's why the plague didn't come through. This area was spared, and now people are taking ships back into those lands now that the plague has faded. Okay, so where does it land us on our world map? Well, it lands us right outside of Ivermore Port Town. Now, here's one thing. If you come into the port town via this way, it's just going to take you to the port. And is that believable or realistic? Maybe not quite entirely, but it's very similar to Final Fantasy 12, how when you go to Arcadia, you only go to one zone. Or in Final Fantasy 7, when you go back to Midgar, you can only access Sector 5. Okay, so with that in mind, we'll go ahead and make our transfer event. This is going to take you to Ivermore Port, and I think it's going to bring you here. You know what? It's going to bring you here because the idea is that you're, of course, docked at your ship. So we will go here. We will say up. We'll go inside, get rid of the play sound. All right, so that should now work. Next up, we're going to go into the port town, and we're going to make an edit to these. Right now, these just transfer you to your ship, which maybe it still should. I suppose that's fine. That's the way you leave. Let's do... Yeah, let's actually leave that. So we'll go into the top deck of the Avenger, which is where you'll come to. Harry will say this, and then up, down here, we'll put Control Cell Switch A. We're going to get Copy Event, Paste Event, Cell Switch A. And in this case, Harry's not going to ask all that. It's just going to be... Are you ready to set sail? Are you ready to set sail, my lady? There we go. And then we'll do show choices, yes or no. When yes, when no, nothing happens. Okay. So that will be what happens if you come back to town. You will go to town. You have the option to leave via Harry. Wonderful. That works. Good. Good. We're happy with all that. Just to make double sure, the controller does in fact have a cell switch that does nothing. Great. So that'll be fine. You should only be visible if there's a cutscene. Yep. We're good. All right. So all of that should work. And then once we have access to Karnas, because of how we said the ship works, we had to set that up. So the way we did that is a couple of different plugins. First one, CGMZ, made by Casper Gaming. We have ship landing regions of 253 and airship landing regions of 254, right? So region IDs that disallow the vehicle to dock. Leaving the entity means you can dock anywhere. So 253, a ship cannot land at. And we go down here, it does mention the region ID specified for each vehicle to stop it from being able to land while it is currently on that region ID. To stop the boat ship from landing somewhere, put the region on the sea tiles rather than the land tiles. That was key. It took me a second to figure that out. Okay, so anywhere there's a 253, the ship cannot land. Well, we go to map and region. What I have done, very simply, is put 253 everywhere except ports. Port, 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 port. So that is where the ship can land. Notice that there's no ports in the Ravaged Lands, which means the ship cannot land on this continent. And can only land on this continent in one spot. So that will restrict this land to when they have the airship. All right. So that is good. Next up, we have another plugin. And I actually think I could have done both things with just this one, but I'd already done the thing with Casper's plugin for the first part, so I didn't want to redo it. So you may notice this is all in Japanese, but luckily if you double click, you can see ship non-passable regions 252, meaning the ship cannot go past 252. So I put 252 at the beginning of any river that has access to the sea. So 252. 252. 252. So, a ship cannot go in shallow water. That easy. All right. So, that should give us all of our basics. Let's go ahead and test it out. We will test it out from... Let's see. We don't really need to do the beginning, but we could do from... I think that we have a save file. Let's see. Okay. Yep. We leave the sewer after defeating the boss. We come to... well, we should be. Can we find a bug here? We might have found a bug, y'all. Let's try one more time. Yep, looks like there is a bug in fact. Well, probably what we did was we didn't turn back on the screen. So let's go take a look and see if that is in fact what's wrong. Ivermore Prison, our sewer, our door. Yep, that's what's wrong. Fade in screen. Control S. Try this one more time. You guys cannot hear that music. There we go. Let's turn it on just a little bit. There we go. Hopefully you can hear that just a little now. Okay, continue. And there's that double quit. Let's go ahead and fix that as well. I suspect that is because I have... where are you? It's like... yeah, Luna quit to desktop. Let's try turning that off. I think that I was getting a quit from Visucella and a quit from Luna quit to desktop. Let's see if that works. Yep. All right. Continue. Bug testing, bug testing, bug testing. Bada bing. We are in Ivermore Port. We can look around. We cannot climb down things. Is there a bug there? Oh, no, it's just you pressing under. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Yep. You should say, yep. Okay, everything looks nice. Okay. Okay. Get a heal shard. Quill learned heal. Okay. Buy a vest. Okay. Alright, we've spent our monies. We don't have any treasure here. So, alright, well, go south. Alright, here's the new stuff. Alright. Ah, ahoy, Captain. Striker, welcome back. I see you were successful. I would recognize my cousin anywhere. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Go ahead and fire away. And now we can ask all of our questions. Now, because of that label system, when we do, who are you? I'm Renee Orta, Captain of the Avenger, loyal retainer to the crown of Zadria, and distantly your cousin. Goes back. Our great-grandfathers were cousins. Yours was the crown prince of Zadria, and mine his retainer, friend, and bodyguard. While any blood between us is minimal, my family is still loyal to yours. Now that we can return to Zadria, it is my intention to help you claim your birthright. What do you want from me? I want you to claim your throne. I want you to free me and my crew from piracy and commission us in Zadria's new navy. It is my fondest desire. What is Zadria? Zadria is the real name of what people refer to as the Ravaged Lands. Let's see how the color coding kind of gives that connection. 3 generations ago, a plague that turned people into undead monsters wiped out the kingdom. You and I are descendants of survivors of that kingdom. Ah, undead plague, so we have new information. And that's all of my questions. Very good. My ship is at your command. Simply speak to my helmsman. You are ready to set sail. Now we can wander around. We can go down to the bilge. You know what? I bet. Yeah, I thought so. That took me back to the old one, which makes sense. I forgot to change it. Okay. As I mentioned, these are the ship. I had not changed out the map, so these are like pre-made from my asset pack, so I need to send them back to my ship, not the default ship. This is... I forgot which one it was. Shoot. Ah, this is the cabin. Okay. Okay, that's now fixed. And the bilge. Our ship. The Avenger. Up. Okay, so test, test, test. This time we are going to go ahead and skip because we're going to go right where we were and just keep going. Okay, all right. But we can't do that because of the auto walk. Okay, well, I guess we will have to start from here. All right, just a second. We'll turn on our speed through. Okay, we have back where we started. We can go down to bilge. We can come up from bilge, the Avenger top deck. We can go into the cabin. We can come back from the cabin. Very good. Now, finally, we can talk to Helmsman Harry. Oh, welcome aboard, Your Highness. Would you like me to teach you about traveling by ship? We'll say yes. Ships like the Avenger here can only sail in deep water, and you can only dock at ports. You can move them about with the arrow keys. Also, watch out. There are plenty of sea beasties who will have to you will have to fight if they crawl on deck. Let you know there can be battles on the ship. Okay, this takes us back into town, exactly where it should. Talk to Harry. Ready to set sail? Yes. Very good. We can get on the ship. Now that is loud. One second while I turn that down a bit. Okay, that's just the default ship music. Alright, so we can control our ship with the mouse or the keyboard. Our ship can go wherever that it's allowed to go. It cannot, however, dock. If we try to go up the river, it cannot do it. If we dock here, however, there we are. Now, I don't have any sea beasties yet, but soon enough, you'll be able to fight in the sea. Ah, let's see here. We found some land. Very good. There we are. So we found another dock. And that is going to be the site of the Auntie's cabin, who collects the crystal. I think they're crystal cranes. That's what I went with. Now we can get to the southern half of the sort of known world. Very good. And if we go east of the mountain, continuing to head east, or to the east of the island, we'll find another landmass. And aha, a dock. And here we are. We have made it to this first settlement of the Ravaged Lands. Notice how big this feels when you're in the game. It's much bigger than it seems like when you're not in the game. There we go. All right. Well, hopefully that was interesting and helpful and a little bit shorter of a video, but I think that is a lot. I did see one thing I wanted to fix real fast. Was down here. Yeah. Go here. This is kind of a tricky kind of tricky to get this to do with the auto tiles what you want it to. So what we have to do is that. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then get rid of these. Hit save. All right. That is that. We have a world map. We have a ship. We have rules for our ship. We are trucking along. Next up, we will be going and making our first regular town. All right. I will see you for the making of probably something village, destination village, prospect village, enterprise, something like that. And we will go from there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your whatever time it is, and happy game making.